Hi, and welcome to Astrology and Earth Magic. Thanks for joining me today as we talk about our blue moon in Sagittarius on Sunday, May 31st, 4:45 a.m. at 9 degrees, 55 minutes of Sagittarius. So I'm putting this video out a week early because I have something fun planned and you guys get to go with me. So I got the idea with the Taurus New Moon. I have Taurus in my 5th house, and this is a placement of fun and play and enjoyment. And the moon's ruler, which is Venus, the ruler of Taurus, is in my 8th house. So, things brought to you from your spouse. So my husband's family camp is where we're going to head to. So the 5th house is also a place of creative expression. So I thought that I would show you the electional chart that we choose for that day to begin our vacation, and document how each house plays out with different videos, and see how things go while we're there, and see how, right or wrong my electional chart plays out. So you want to be sure to subscribe, hit that bell to be notified when we come out with our next video next week. It should be a lot of fun. And, so I planted that seed with that Taurus New Moon. Let's see how it grows. So back to our blue moon. So a blue moon occurs when you have 2 full moons in 1 month. And the second full moon is known as the blue moon. So on May 1st, we saw our first moon, and that was our full moon in Scorpio. And then on the 16th, we had our new moon in Taurus, what I was just talking about. And then closing out the month, we have our blue moon, which is on the 31st. So just smack dab at the beginning full moon, right at the end full moon. Now the difficult aspects that came along with that Taurus new moon are now separating. So we can just start letting things go. Think of what you've faced. Was there something that you were forced to deal with, forced to let go of, something almost forced to even understand? Mars in Aries square to Pluto that was building during that Taurus new moon, along with the Mars Chiron conjunction, you may have dealt with some real deep inner struggles, tension, drama building, really kind of getting up to a point of no return. There may have been just that undeniable need to experience something new. This could be growing inside of you, and that is all about what Sagittarius is about, is that trying something new, craving, it's an inner craving needing to be fed. If you know any Sagittarians, they are the least complacent people. So this is a moon that is really going to stoke our creativity and kind of get us moving and trying something different. But still, something is there that might be holding you back that you need to deal with, challenging you to push through the dark, to kind of, still face something, give something up so you can get on your way. A Sagittarius full moon can play out in a form of that restless expansion. So you feel the need that you want to expand, you have to get out. You have to break out. This is a totally non-complacent sign, a need to just push yourself out of that comfort zone. It was all about being in that comfort zone with our new moon in Taurus, but it's now we're starting to rethink those core needs and thinking, okay, what is truly important to us and what can we kind of release? These 2 signs really can't be any more different. Sag is wanting to learn, evolve, expand, seek the truth, the need to explore the world around you, and also to explore within yourself. It's also about truth seeking. So as of late, we've had more and more come out, one about all this alien life. I saw in the news last night actually about that there's 4 different types of alien species. So there's the grays, which are the ones that are from Close Encounters. They're little short, little gray guys with giant eyes. And then there's Nordics, which are, I guess, these really tall, blonde aliens, reptilians, which are kind of self-explanatory. They look like walking reptilians, I guess. And then mantis, or insectable ones, the ones that kind of look like giant insects. So that sounds horrifying, but also very interesting. And it seems like this is more and more, as this comes out, we're just getting little and little glimpses of it. Also, I've heard a lot of things coming out about COVID, the origins of COVID, what we were once told about it, also the vaccine. So pretty much we are entering the age of disclosure. And you want to open all these, you want to be open to accepting what is coming out. You don't want to just put up blocks and pretend that you don't see it, like pull the veil down and say, like, I don't want to know, because this is very important in our evolution. I think, with everything that is changing, this is how we need to evolve. We have to be accepting of these things, and kind of like it's going to be the new normal in our lives. And, this more and more shocking information is likely to continue to come out throughout this whole year. Also, Sagittarius encourages us to open up spiritually, to be willing to explore the divine and the metaphysical, a journey for knowledge, a spiritual and personal understanding, letting go of those really stale old ideologies and opening up your awareness to these new ideologies or twists on these new ideologies with all this new information that we are getting. So it's only then that you can really just evolve and be able to accept what is being exposed to us and declassified. It's a journey much like the corresponding tarot cards, I think. So we have Temperance, which corresponds with Sagittarius. Now, Temperance brings new perspective, creative alignment, but similar to how we're seeing this information coming out, it's coming out in moderation. So we have to be patient. So everyone, is talking about, again, these Epstein files. Well, why aren't we having everything? And why are we only getting little glimpses of these alien, spacecraft that just look like little dots? Where's the information that we've been looking for? And so we have to have patience and moderation, because it's going to be a lot to handle. So we can't handle it all at once. And also the other card that is very much like is the Wheel of Fortune. So it can take you, the Wheel of Fortune and Sagittarius, this full moon can take you to the highest highs and the lowest lows. So if you look at where Sagittarius falls in your chart, I'm sure you can see how you've experienced these highs and lows in that area of your life. And it's like, oh, I remember, and you always seem to kind of pick yourself back up. So it's like you might hit what you feel like is rock bottom, but it seems like you just pick yourself back up and just brush off and get going again. So that's kind of what this is all about, is that highs, lows, and just, the vicious cycle. But there's also the excitement of going along for the ride. So it's not always about, say, we're talking about this information, say we're talking about relationships, say we're talking about a journey in general. Sometimes it can be more about just going along for the ride. The journey itself can be more exciting than the final destination. So I know I liken a lot of things to when we were in Yellowstone. So we had a journey through Yellowstone to get to certain points that we wanted to get to. And the things that you saw along the way were almost more awe-inspiring than the actual destination that we got to. You get to the destination and maybe it's like a restaurant, or maybe it's like a museum or something, but seeing the nature and the different things that, the world has to offer, again, sometimes can be more exciting than actually getting to that ultimate destination. You're seeing new things, you're feeling those new feels, you're experiencing these new experiences and gaining new perspectives along the way. Now, with this new moon, we also have, or not new moon, full moon, we also have it being in Quincunx to Mars. So this can cause misunderstandings. This is an aspect where there's really no visual. So you don't see eye to eye, I guess you could say. So this could be, like I said, with misunderstandings, stalled negotiations, stalled agreements, the things really just not kind of panning out exactly how you want. We see a lot of that going on right now as we are waxing towards this full moon with the Iran negotiations, and it's like that back and forth. They're not seeing eye to eye. So this is going to continue because of this moon, the sun and moon going into, well, the moon going into this quincunx with Mars. So it's just not going to be seeing eye to eye, or other people not seeing your vision. So you could say, you know, I have this idea and I want to do this, and people might be like, you're crazy. So, you know, thinking about when we bought our house, it was a disaster. So the woman that lived here didn't do anything to it. It was dark, overgrown, totally trashed and 70s inside. She smoked, it smelled awful, but we had a vision. No one else saw it but us, and now our house is beautiful inside. So you kind of have to go with that intuition and that gut feeling, because people might not back you on it. Like, again, with these negotiations and trying to explain things to people might not understand. So you really just have to go with your gut and go with what just feels right. So as we move through the moon's waxing cycle, what, again, have you noticed? Where have you been drawn? Like, what's been drawing you to it? Did you ask for too much, maybe? And is this what's causing some things to stall? Did you give a little too much tough love, perhaps, you know, trying to help somebody out? Remember, with that new moon, it was about really looking at your core needs and getting rid of what's no longer needed. So this could be something that you've come to face, or helping someone face. So maybe giving a little bit of tough love to have, you know, them let go, or yourself let go, could be really tough. And that could be where you're just not seeing the bigger picture. You're not seeing, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel. And maybe it's even about laying down ground rules. So this is also due to, you know, this Mars quincunx, along with Venus squaring Saturn. So Venus is in Cancer along with Jupiter, and it's squaring Saturn, who's in Aries. So these boundaries, this discipline that you seek, is being built. Saturn is seeing to that in Aries. It's making things happen financially and in our personal lives. So this is really, though, because we have Venus and Jupiter in Cancer, this is really how we protect ourselves. So we're guarded in our relationships, perhaps, relationships with others, guarded in maybe how we're spending money. Maybe we're kind of just putting on a little bit of a shell. And this shell will get strengthened as, you know, we protect those we love, and especially with Venus closing in on the conjunction to Jupiter, which I think is going to be exact on the 9th of June, if I remember correctly. So that is our full moon ruler. So Venus is moving into that conjunction. So it's really about coming together in crisis, having that shell, but also protecting others and protecting those that you care about. So we asked ourselves, back with that new moon in Taurus, you know, what do we truly value? Again, our core needs. What were they? What did we need? What do we need to feel whole and satisfied? Really reevaluating, you know, what we've accumulated in life, what we felt like was so necessary, which, you know, might not have been all that necessary. You know, it was, you know, separating out what's not really important, and, you know, what's frivolous, what is unnecessary, to what is that core need. What is it that just burns that fire inside of you? It's not about, well, I mean, it could be, who knows? It could be about anything. But you need to know what you truly need that's going to make you happy. So of course, letting go is difficult. We have, you know, built these shells that we have. All of us have them in one way or another. They're built from our lived experiences. But now is the time to maybe take a chance, to maybe let it go. And, you know, but do things carefully and safely. Don't let things go out of control, because you do want to just still protect yourself without stifling yourself. So by the full moon, so again, this is a little bit early that we're putting this video out. So we have another about a week and a couple days. But you're likely going to be coming to grips with the choices that you've made. You've reached that point of no return. So, once you jump, you jump. So was it fate or was it fortune? Was it, something, the highs and highs on the wheel, or was it the lows and lows on the wheel? You may be second guessing your decisions, but really you can't go back. And you know this throughout your life. You make the decision and then you have to pretty much live with what the ramifications are, good or bad. You have to live with the choices that you've made. And this is actually how you grow. So, maybe you're having one of those like, oh, fuck, what did I do kind of moments. Or maybe you're having wow, I really dodged a bullet on that one type of moment. So, whatever it is, take the lessons learned as the moon wanes down to its new phase. And it's really like it's closing out that chapter, preparing you for a new one with these lessons that you've learned, what, non-necessities you've released, and kind of like this newfound maybe spirituality, open-mindedness, the different things that you've learned on your journey along the way, the different experiences you've experienced. This is all, this closing a chapter, going to a new moon does not mean it's over. It just is just starting again. When you're reading a book, each chapter kind of feeds off the last one, and it's just bringing you to a new segment of life. And we'll see these choices play out that we've made, and these experiences that we've had in all the chapters to come, really just shaping our story. So emotionally high, low, draining, or exhilarating, whatever the feelings are, either way, again, you've made your choices. So if you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. If you fail, learn from it. Learn why you failed and how maybe you can succeed next time. Life goes on, up or down. Just like the Wheel of Fortune, you have your ups, you have your downs. So lastly, the blue moon will bring us into a deeper connection with our subconscious. So we, it's really opening the doors of perception. So that's actually from a Doors song. But anyway, I think that's how they got their name. In fact, I think it was from a poem. And I read that Jim Morrison got the idea of the name of the Doors from that line in a poem. I'm not sure, but if you know, let me know in the comments. So even more so, the moon is trine to Neptune and Saturn. So this is why those doors to perception are so wide open right now. You're sensitive to the things that are going on around you, and depending on its aspects to your natal chart and how really open you are spiritually. So if you have been working on that, you can kind of get other people's feelings having a deep effect on you. Kind of just having that intuition that if somebody is having a bad day and maybe you want to do something a little extra nice, or just tell them, oh, I love your outfit, or just give a compliment. If you could sense that they're feeling down, if you sense that they're feeling up, maybe, plan something fun to do, because you can really work off those emotions. And if they have those negative emotions, it can bring you down as well. So what you want to try and do is, if you sense that others are having those emotions, you want to try and bring that back up. So be like that wheel, help somebody to kind of dig themselves out of their hole. So not only is this a moon of spirituality and truth seeking, the blue moon can really connect us with our dreams. It connects our dreams to our conscious world. What are they trying to tell you? So, you really kind of focus on, if you remember your dreams, especially if you have a recurring dream that you have quite a bit, now would be the time that you really want to try and write them down. Before you open your eyes, if you're wake up and you're dreaming, before you open your eyes, think of that dream over a few times in your head. And that way you might remember it a little bit easier, because I swear, once you open your eyes up, the dream's gone. So an example I have is, years ago, I was having this dream over and over, and I was totally gross, but kind of Plutonian, I would say. so I had this dream over and over again. It was like, oh my God, every other night that I was trying to find a bathroom and all the bathrooms were no door and the toilets were filled with horribleness. Anyway, I was like, what does this even mean? I don't get it. Like, it's so gross, and I don't even, sometimes like if you dream of water or something, it's because you have to go to the bathroom, but this wasn't like that. Oh, speaking of, it's starting to rain a little bit. But that dream, once I really looked into it, I realized there was a person that was so nasty in my life. It was pretty much a shit person that was in my life. And I ended up breaking off, my relationship that I had with that person, never had the dream again. So sometimes you have to kind of like look at what your subconscious is telling you, even if you don't want to see it in your waking moments, your subconscious still knows what you're feeling deep inside, and it's going to try and express itself in one way or another. So funny, that was like very Plutonian the way it's just kind of like expelling the shit from your life. That dream was anyway. So that's kind of why I use that one. The moon is going to be sextile to Pluto as well. So you can take a journey really deep inside yourself. Let it guide you to what can be a profound personal growth, exposing your deepest fears and desires that might actually be something that you can work towards. Like those deepest fears can be a drive to try and conquer those fears, to try and, just have faith, and you will begin to understand what your subconscious is trying to tell you. And with the applying Venus-Jupiter conjunction, we are becoming more optimistic. So we're becoming more optimistic about the future. Our hearts are becoming, a little more open. Minds are opening up as well. We're beginning maybe to trust in yourself and your decisions that you've made, whether bad or good. It's just a form of life, and it's a form of learning. So you start maybe to attract good things. Once you start going by your intuition, you start seeing these doors opening up for you. Maybe you're attracting good things, like luck, like wealth, like opportunities to go through that open door if it opens for you, to take that leap of faith and, face those fears, conquer those fears, and just don't let them hold you back. So let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you do know what poem that line comes from, opening the doors of perception, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to hear it, because it's going to drive me crazy, because I did know it years ago. Anyway, so let me know your thoughts in the comments. What areas does this make sense to you? What are you working on? What are you working through? What areas, what houses is this really having an impact on, that you're seeing these highs and lows? So I just want to thank you all for joining me today. And please, if you liked, show some love and hit the like button. Also subscribe. I appreciate every view, every like, every subscription, every comment. So if you want to give me some love, help the channel grow a little bit, I would so greatly appreciate it. And I just want you all to go ahead with peace in your minds, positivity in your words, and love in your heart, and confidence in yourselves and the decisions that you're going to be making. And I will see y'all soon. Bye.